The following is a special presentation of Tony Kurre Radio.
Welcome back to the Keefer and Kurre. You just heard Need to Know, a little long. Sometimes, man, when the man's got the words in the mouth, you don't shut him down, you just let him go. That's the
I have no notes and no clock, so I'm a dangerous commodity, man.
That's what I love about it. So we're going to shorten this up a little bit here because we're back-to-back here on January 19th. Happy MLK Jr. Day,
absolutely,
to everyone, and happy National Championship Day. With Indiana and Miami later on tonight. That line's taken at 8.5 and 47.5. If you listen to K4Wins.com, you'll find out more details about that. But you did want to talk about the state of college football, NFL football, whatever you want to talk about. I've got some interesting numbers I want to throw your way, but why do you want to get into it today?
Well, just watching these games on the weekend, I put up on my Facebook business page, Keefer Sports, I did a poll. Well, just one. There's only one voter, so it was unanimous. It was my poll. I asked myself, what's more entertaining, college or professional football? And I had to split it into two parts. Right now, the pageantry, the rivalries, the week-to-week drama of college football, the regular season, Tony, I think is the superior product. But in postseason, in the playoffs, the way that it's decided, the way that it's played out, from quality of play to intensity to just sheer entertainment, college football has so much ground to make up to even compare to the NFL. This set of playoff games this weekend were absolutely extraordinary. And last night
in the pros, in the pros, talk about,
in the NFL,
unbelievable.
College football is not even on the same page.
No.
Watching the game last night at Soldier Field, it was 11 or 12 degrees. The snow was blowing. There was so much moisture in the air that the pictures on the TV were even distorted. But to watch the Los Angeles Rams, the Hollywood dudes, come in there and hang in with the Bears, and the Bears are the ultimate working man's team. The Bears don't have a lot of stars. Caleb Williams is, and I can admit it, I'm a big enough man, Tony. I didn't think Caleb Williams was going to be a giant force in the NFL. I thought he was, more of a college kind of tricked up quarterback who could run. I was so wrong about Caleb Williams. What a leader. What a gutsy guy. The Bears, who told their new defensive coordinator before the year, look, we've spent a lot of money the last few years. We can't go out and get a bunch of free agents. You're going to have to make something out of this defense that we have. The Bears are one of the worst defenses on the planet last year. Yeah. These guys played their guts out. I mean, it's unbelievable. With the coaching change that they made and bringing in the new coordinators, the Chicago Bears are one of the great stories of the season. And to watch those people, I can't. I walk out to the trash can to throw away, a trash bag, and it's 20 degrees here, and I'm going, I'm like, can you imagine sitting out there with 35-mile-an-hour winds? It's 11 degrees. There's snow blowing, and the atmosphere in that stadium last night when Caleb Williams threw the fourth down pass running backwards and threw it like a fadeaway jumper, as Chris Collinsworth described it, and it was caught in the end zone. I mean, that to me is the essence of what football is all about. I've been to some of the greatest football games, and it's the crowd and it's the atmosphere that makes the game, and the quality of play, the fans. I think college football, I know, is loyal to the bowl system, and they're tied into all this deal, but you've got to get it to the college playoffs, play a lot of games on campuses in front of home fans that have earned that opportunity. That gives you the value in the regular season. I think they're missing the boat. All these games on neutral fields, it's just not the same atmosphere.
I do think that is on the way. You mentioned their defense, that Brister kid, man, last night for Chicago was all over the place. Great ending that game. Caleb Williams, he did have, 6 picks his last 2 ball games. I know that He was catching kind of some flack for being in the big moment. What is this, his second year? I mean, for God's sakes. I mean, give the guy a little room, for God's sake.
And he had made two amazing third down conversion plays on that drive and did try to force the throw on his own 20. It wasn't like he gave the Rams the ball in their own territory. The Rams had to gut it up and get down the field and score to win the game. So
you probably just lost to the MVP of the league. I quite frankly, after the Rams knocked off my Bengals, I wish Stafford would have gone away. I was hoping he'd just retire. I didn't realize he would have his best season 3 years later. The guy's been playing unbelievable. No, I agree with you. I think the National Football League has done a masterful job. I went back to look. College football has set a record this year. I don't even know how to put this into terms, but we have just passed the 179 billionth minute of viewership for college football this year. It's up roughly 7% over last year, which was a record-breaking season. Interesting enough, that the first round of the playoffs is off 7%, and we were off 16% in the semifinals in college football because of the great matchups in the National Football League.
College has this socialist system. I mean, were you excited to watch the Ole Miss Tulane game and Oregon against James Madison? I mean, that's just a joke. No wonder the ratings are off.
Well, and that's why when you're talking about 12 teams, that's what you're talking. And that was another reason why the playoffs have fallen off, because the Blue Bloods have not been playing. Alabama wasn't, obviously they played, but they didn't make it past the first round.
Well, they didn't play much in Pasadena, but they were there. They showed up.
No, and that's another reason why you could certainly make an argument that the fact that Indiana and Miami's been there 9 times. But the fact that Indiana's playing in a national title game, I think, is another reason why perhaps you don't think of the Hoosier State as one of those states that's going to be bringing a lot of college football.
Second losingest program of all time.
Exactly. But there's some things at college football we have to change some things. And I had a couple of different ideas, and these are all ideas that have been out there a little bit. Obviously, eliminating the early signing day, moving the transfer portal. There's a reason why the NFL works, because you don't have coaching changes, you don't have free agency, you don't have the draft, and you don't have the playoffs all in the same month. I mean, there's too much crap going on in college football right now. You got college kids sitting out 2 days before they're supposed to play a national championship. It's just too much. The other thing is, and I can't speak this loudly enough, and I did not do a very good job because it kind of caught me off guard in refuting this with a legend on the starting lineup. But stop bitching and moaning about the money. The money's not going away. This is what it is. We're not reversing. For people like, oh, it's too much cash, it's too much money. It's not going to stop, so deal with it. Adapt or die. I used to have a show on Tony Kurre Radio from Adaptogent, and it was called Adapt or Die. You're either going to adapt to the changes that's going on around you, or you're going to die on the vine. And for people that are sitting there saying the money's gotten out of control, it's not going backwards, folks. It's not going to end. It's not going to stop. So we need to deal with it. Players are getting paid. They've been getting paid since the 70s, the 60s. But I mean, for people sitting there saying the money's going to ruin the game, no, it's not. It's not going to ruin the game. It's going to make it actually better. I think it's going to make the game. Now players are finally making your cash. For people out there saying these players are getting taken advantage of all these years, so you finally got your way, so enjoy it. I mean, I don't know what else to tell you. I don't like the idea of players getting paid $7 million a year. I don't. Because I think that's what the pros are for. But that's another reason why I think, and there's an interesting article on On3, where maybe college football needs to work with the National Football League a little bit better. Say, listen, we both have two absolute juggernauts. How can we help each other? The whole idea though of 7 years of eligibility, 7 years of eligibility because guys are getting paid, blah, 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 blah. And the other thing is, I think it's really, really important. And I know people are wanting to do away with conference championships. I don't think that's the way to go. I think conference championships, certainly in the SEC, have always been a huge deal. It's always been a huge deal for every conference out there. I maybe sound like a purist, but going to 24 teams, I think, is just too much, because now you're talking about winning 5 games to win a national title, and you're only playing 11 or 12 during your season.
It's crazy.
So it doesn't make sense. The 30-year games are going to be in playoff games. So if we're going to do that, then just go to 64 teams and scatter everyone else out and let the 64 beat the hell out of each other. 24 is too many. I think 16 is about as far as you go.
This isn't basketball.
No, it's not. It's not. In basketball, let's be honest with you. And listen, college basketball is right around the corner. College basketball up 39% this year over last year. 39%.
It's a great
college
product.
basketball, and there's more money in college basketball than
It's a
in college
better
football.
product than the NBA. If
It
I do
is.
another Kip Keefer poll, college basketball is so much more watchable
man.
and enjoyable to me than the NBA.
Yeah, so there's a lot of things that got to change, and hopefully there's too much money to be had. I don't think anyone's going to be cutting the golden goose's neck off. Hopefully the Big Ten and the SEC can get their squad together and figure this out for the rest of us. I hope it's a situation where everyone gets an opportunity to play some college football. But these teams are sitting there saying money's going to be too much, and we won't be able to play. But UAB is not going to shut down the football program. I don't care if they go upside down by $50 million a year. They're going to continue to figure out a way to play college football. So is Kennesaw State. So is James Madison. All these schools that are sitting, the money will come from somewhere because you know why? Because the money's coming from the boosters and alumni now. We're finding $3 and $4 million to pay. I remember when Milroe got paid $100,000 his first year, and I thought that's crazy. He got $1 million his second year, and I'm thinking to myself, and we got $7.3 million going to two quarterbacks, Carson Beck and Fernando Mendoza tonight. $7.3 million just between those two guys. So, there's some things that need to be figured out. Have we let the toothpaste out of the tube? Absolutely. But stop talking about the money's ruining the game. The money's always been there. It's always been about the money. That's why we started the SEC championship game back in 1993 or 94 it was, and everyone thought it was the greatest idea in the world. The SEC has an SEC championship game. Can you imagine college football without even having a championship? I mean, what took so long? I remember going to Atlanta. It wasn't sold out. People are thinking, is this a good idea? Second or third year, best idea in the world. Everyone's doing it. We're making more money than we know what to do with. I'm a small guy. I'm a little guy. I do hope the little guy gets an opportunity. I like the Appalachian States knocking off the Michigans once in a while. I like some of those storylines. Now, do I necessarily want them? Want them in a playoff? With Alabama and Michigan? No, probably not. I'll be honest with you, Kip. I'd have to look at the top 16. That eliminates 4 lost teams getting in. I think I know this sounds stupid, but 4 losses, if you lose 4 games, that's too many losses.
No, you don't belong.
And Alabama got in the first team ever to lose 3 games to get in. So we've crossed that precipice. We know that now you can get in with 3 losses. And I know there's going to be a Notre Dame out there with 4 losses, but for God's sakes, now you're looking at Notre Dame that lost their first 2 games, ran the table and still didn't get in. But now we know. So there's a lot of things got to change, but listen, I turned 60 years old this year, and I could be that crotchety old man saying, I like the old Bear Bryant days and blah, 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 blah. Let's face it, man. We got more college. Do you remember back in the day, Kipper, do you remember back in the day when there were only 2 games on television? Alabama played 2 games on television, and the third game was a PPV. For you people who don't know what that is, it's called pay-per-view. You had to pay $19.99 to see Alabama, and it was usually against a squat team like a Tulsa or just a really bad team. You were paying $19 for that just because it was on television. Now you can watch any team, anywhere, anytime, whenever you want, the entire schedule. And we're still selling out stadiums. The game's as healthy as it's ever been. I know there's lots of money out there. I do think that we need to pump our brakes and figure out what we're doing real quick, though, before it does trickle down into the high school level, because and that's already happening too. So
it's happening. Yeah, they're actually imagine being an 11th grade kid in high school, and school's recruiting you, and you go to your mailbox and you're getting $25,000 and $30,000 checks in the 11th grade. That's a world I wish I could have lived in.
Well, and you know what? That's going to happen now, because we already got parents who are divorcing so that kid can be playing for Hoover or playing for Thompson or whatever. We already got that going on. And when we're spending, I don't know what we're spending on stadiums. I still go to Oak Mountain Stadium, and it still looks like a high school stadium. I kind of like that appeal. I don't want to go to a stadium where there's like a 30-foot giant,
video screen.
I don't.
Buford High School in Georgia, $42 million stadium open this year.
That's insane.
With private suites.
Yeah, with private suites.
It's crazy. Let me respond to your.
Please, I'd love to hear it.
I agree with you. I don't want to hear about it's money's the corruptor. It's not the money. It's the complete and utter irresponsible lack of leadership that college football has allowed to get out of control.
Agreed.
And what happened was they put all their chips on the NCAA, which is an archaic dinosaur that has no tooths, no power. They're completely just a political hack organization. The college presidents, that's where you got to really put the blame. The ADs, the infrastructure, the conferences, put all their faith in the NCAA, who fought tooth and nail for 15 years to try and prevent players from being paid, selling this BS that these are student athletes and they're getting books and tuition. They're already compensated. And really, you know what put it over the edge, Tony? EA Sports, with their college football video game, wanted to use the images of a couple players on their box, and the NCAA said, nope, can't do it.
Nope.
That's what forced the original lawsuits.
Now they're getting now they're getting $500.
Exactly. But also Carson Beck's getting $4 million because when they sued, Pandora's box was thrown open. Now, instead of absolutely no compensation, and you're right, there were a lot of under-table handshakes and, let me give you this, this magazine, and you open up, there's an envelope with $1,000 in it or whatever. That's been going on since the beginning of time.
Sure.
Nobody denies that. But it's a complete lack of leadership. The NCAA took that case all the way to the Supreme Court, trying to block players from getting compensated. They lost 9-0 in the Supreme Court, ruled in favor of the players, because this is America. It's free enterprise. It's open market. But the NCAA paid an army of lawyers for 10 years to fight this thing. Instead of, they could have spent all of those millions and all of that time crafting a system that would work for everybody, because this is the only league in the world that you get kids being paid this much money and have complete freedom of movement. You've got to have a binding contract that says, okay, we're going to provide this and you're going to provide that. You can't have a guy, a lot of players, there's suits right now that left like in the middle of the season after they've collected a bunch of money. I don't like how that coach spoke to me, and I don't like, so anyway, it's a lack of leadership. It was a lack of vision. It was stubbornness to try to hold on to this indentured servant thing we had for so many years. It's not the money. The money is not the problem. It's the lack of leadership in college football that has us in this terrible jackpot.
We only have a couple minutes. I want to mention a couple things, and not to refute you. I totally agree with you. Let's remember who created the NCAA. Who was that? It was the schools.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
The same schools that are hammering. Yeah, the same schools that are hammering on the NCAA and so they have no teeth, they have nothing, they're a pain in the ass. The NCAA are the schools. The schools created the NCAA. It's kind of like going out and spending too much on that girl on the first date, and she expects to be spent money on. You're buying her jewelry on the third date.
Does that happen?
Yeah.
Boy, that's an interesting concept.
And you can only go up from there. And you get to the point where you're sitting at home, you're broke, and she's sulking around going, my earrings are only 1.5 carats. I'd sure like to have those 2-carat jobbers. And you have loaned into this situation. You've given the NCAA too much power, and you got to the point now where you've created this monster who wants to be taken out to Fleming's every single night with diamond earrings. And you're like, I'm broke. I can't do it anymore. And now all of a sudden you want to fire her ass and get rid of her and start all over again. You just got to be careful. I do. That was really funny, by the way.
I was looking for my checkbook, and you might be explaining a lot of things to me that I wasn't aware of.
You're a pimp, man. I love it. All right, I gotta go. I got a show. I'm doing a show with Bruce Ayers next.
Really?
Yeah. And he's only got a few minutes, but I want to talk. He just sold the comedy club Stardom. I was going to invite him to come on our starting lineup show and talk about it, because the guy has touched the biggest celebrity comedians of all time.
Oh, yeah.
So I'm looking forward to doing a show with him coming up here next. We're going to be doing our thing, K4 Wins, tomorrow. We're going to be changing some things up. Really excited about 26. This year's the year. This is the year where everything's going to pop. It's going to be super exciting. So if you follow Kip or you follow myself, you follow the two of us, man, make sure you stay on board, because it's going to move fast. We're going to have some special stuff going on here in 2026. It's going to be magical. My friend, I appreciate you, and I will talk to you tomorrow morning.
Money, money, money. I'm right there.
This has been a special presentation of Tony Kurre Radio.